Hey guys! Hey everybody, it's me, Zach, and this is Judy, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am very excited to give you a video about the very first episode of 1,000 Pound Sisters on TLC. If you aren't familiar with what this show is, I will link the first video I made about this when we found out this news down below. Basically, 1,000 Pound Sisters is like a little mini docu-series that TLC is doing that features two of my favorite YouTubers, Tammy and Amy Slayton. Now, I'm prepared to give y'all some backstory because I don't make a ton of videos about Amy and Tammy, but I have made some videos about Amy and Tammy. I'll put together like a little Amy, Tammy, Slayton playlist for y'all down below so that you can go do that. But some of my favorite memories include Tammy's Kool-Aid pie. Yo, that is so sour. My eyes are watering a little bit. Oh my gosh. The fudge that Amy made, I both reacted to the video of her making it. If that's your thing, praying, it's not mine. What? Y'all? What devil creature, after we just talked about prayer, what devil creature? Wait, I gotta go back. I need to see that again.
Affected in the wildfire up in, I think it's...
No, ma'am, absolutely not. If there's one thing I don't do, it is whatever that critter was that just went across her screen. And I also tried it myself. Now, Amy didn't even have the nerve to try it on camera, but I will for you all, because that's what I do. I mean, she is, ooh, she's very sweet. And yeah, I just really have a fascination with both of the Slaytons in the same way that I have a fascination with Amber Lynn and Chantal and Life by Jen and Nikocado Avocado, all the people. I just have a fascination, I can't quite explain it. I also do want to say that like my support of this show and watching this show for entertainment and things like that is not necessarily a cosign of everything that Amy and Tammy have ever done in their past. If you aren't familiar with them, one of the things that Amy was maybe most known for in the history of YouTube was when she created a GoFundMe for an obese-sized coffin because she thought Tammy was gonna die. Tammy obviously did not die, and Amy kept all of that money to pay for her own bills and things like that. That is obviously not something that is great, but what I will say is at this point in time, Amy and Tammy have both talked about it. I mean, I think you can only hold that against them for so long. There is also some like claims about Amy treating dogs poorly. I mean, Amy did in recent history give up a dog just because it would like bite or pee or do something that it wasn't supposed to do, and instead of like taking the time to train it, just like got rid of it. I have a lot of questions about that as well. With all that being said, you can't deny the entertainment factor of the Slayton sisters. Now, I don't react to a lot of their videos because quite honestly, a lot of their videos are like boring. And in my opinion, like a lot of their videos are just them like Amy does a lot of like makeup tutorials where she's like struggling to put makeup on her face, and Tammy does a lot of videos it's just her talking about nothing on the camera. So that's why you don't see me out here reacting to a lot of those things. But like I said, I will leave a playlist of all of the videos that I've made about the Slaytons down below. I do also want to disclose that like I regularly do DM with Tammy. Tammy messages me actually a lot on Instagram, but I do talk to her with some level of frequency. Ultimately, like I think that they are well-meaning folks who have been through a lot, and I'm curious how their YouTube history and careers and things like that are going to be shown throughout the entirety of the series on TLC, because I would be curious to know if they're going to talk about some of the like scams and stuff that the Slaytons were a part of, or if they're just going to like not acknowledge that or maybe gloss over it very quickly. I'm curious to see what that looks like. With that being said, let's get into talking about like what actually happened on the show. So it started off with the two of them like doing a lot of goofing around, being silly. They showed Tammy like they showed lots of pies and desserts that all kind of look like who knows what. I'm pretty sure I saw the Kool-Aid pie. I'm pretty sure I saw Tammy eating that. And it was just a lot. It was a lot. But the one thing I realized as they were doing all this is that like the Slaytons are naturally like fairly funny humans when they interact with each other. Unless that was just like the editing of the whole episode in general. I mean, I think it's interesting to see them in this light, because we're used to seeing them filmed on like a really shoddy iPad camera and it's always a little blurry. There's always like not great editing, not great lighting. And so to see them with like the lighting and the editing and the camera quality of like an actual like Hollywood production crew, I liked that. I thought it was good. And I said, you know what? They do have the ability to be funny and entertaining, and we do love to see that. Now, of course, in the spirit of shows like My 600-Pound Life, Family by the Ton, they did give us some backstory on how long they've been obese, how long they've been struggling with their weight, what kinds of things led up to that, and it was a lot of the same things that other people on these shows talk about, like not a great family history. They kind of always relied on one another. They didn't have a lot of support from other people in their family, including Mama Slayton, who comes in later on the show. They talk a lot about how like food was the only thing there for them, and I think it does kind of just like make me sad, because it really gives some like insight into some of like the scams and the history that they've had on YouTube. Not to say that that excuses anything, but it helps one understand why Amy might be like, yes, let me make this GoFundMe and get some money from people. She's had a tough life. They both had a tough life, and it all makes a little more sense when you see the full story. We also got to see some pictures of Amy and Tammy that like we've not seen before, or at least I have not seen before, having followed them for a while. So basically, Amy and Tammy say, hey, we're committed to getting healthy, to losing weight. A lot of the other same things that they say on like My 600-Pound Life, like we're not gonna make it much longer. I'm worried about like dying, things like that, which I think is all real concerns. And basically they start getting healthy, and one of my favorite parts of the show, but also like maybe most disturbing parts of the show for me, was when our girl Amy was like, I'm gonna do something special for Tammy. I'm gonna get us a whole slew of workout equipment, but then it was like all the workout equipment you see on infomercials. So there was like the shake weight, there was like a thigh master. I forget what the third one was. There were three because at the end of it all, Tammy took one, Amy took one, and Amy's husband Michael took one, and they had like an oddly sexual group workout. It was like mildly uncomfortable, but I also couldn't take my eyes away. I was like, ma'am, what is going on here? This is a lot. It also was kind of sad though because Tammy was like, I can't do the thigh master, like my stomach's gonna get in the way. But then Amy said, well, I'll just put my stomach in there anyways. What? So that I think was another like highlight of the humor that they all have. Amy really thought she was doing something good and helpful, and it just like, that wasn't it. That wasn't it, sis. So shortly after the group workout, the next like scene is Amy and Tammy going to meet their mom, Mama Slayton. I don't actually even remember her name. Maybe it's like a Darlene, Daphne, something like that. I think it had a D in it. And they go visit her, but they go to an actual restaurant to do it. Now, here's my qualms with this, and what I don't quite get, is that they made this big point of like, Tammy has not been out of the house except for medical reasons in like 6 years. She can barely like walk. She can't do this. She can't do that. And what do? Then they make her go out of the house to see her mom and put her in the back of this van that they don't even know she's gonna fit in. And they parade her in front of these people at this restaurant. And the whole time I'm like, y'all really doing this for the drama? Because there is no reason that Mama Slayton couldn't have made her way over to the Slayton household and met them there to have this conversation, right? So TLC said, we need to make sure the drama is there. So they get to this restaurant. Tammy's feeling some type of way because people are looking at her. And I mean, I get that. I think that makes sense. Like, it was a spectacle. TLC said, we're gonna have a spectacle here. They go into this like back room and they meet with Mama Slayton. And Mama Slayton's out there. She's sitting in her walker herself. She's also probably overweight. And she's just sitting there. She doesn't even really acknowledge the Slaytons when they get there. And y'all, this is just so fascinating because most of what we have seen of the Slaytons is just the Slaytons and then Amy's husband. For a while, Tammy featured one of her nephews on her channel, but then they had some type of falling out. And for a long time, Tammy was living with her mom and her stepdad and this nephew, and all we ever heard of her other family was them yelling in the background, right? And a lot of people gave Tammy a hard time because she would get really upset with them when they'd come in and yell. And it's clear though, I think I've always questioned why Tammy would upload things that included her like getting mad and yelling at people in her videos, and people give her a real hard time about it. But based on the interaction that they go on to have with Mama Slayton, it's like Mama Slayton isn't helpful. Mama Slayton's not supportive. So basically they tell her like, hey, we're gonna have this weight loss surgery. And she says, I don't believe it. I think you guys will chicken out. I think you guys will give up. I think you won't do it. Like, what kind of support is that? So yeah, so Tammy and Amy kind of explained that like Mama Slayton never really showed them a whole lot of affection or love. And Mama Slayton showed that in the episode when she talks about them like not having the willpower to go through with things. And then she talks about how they're quitters and they're not a fighter like her and that they don't work as hard as she does. And I'm just like, sis, where did you want them to learn this from? Like, you are their mom. You should have instilled some of those values in them. Like, you raised them. They did talk a lot, and Tammy's talked about this on her channel too, that like, they both really had a better relationship with their grandma, and things got worse when their grandma passed away. But ultimately, like, I just think that Mama Slayton has some type of nerve to be like, y'all ain't as good as me. Y'all give up and you're not a fighter like me. You don't have the tenacity. Let's be honest, she didn't say the word tenacity. But she was basically like bringing them down, and I was just like, Mama Slayton, this is rude as hell. Like, what have you done to help these girls have willpower? What have you done to raise them to be women who do work hard, who do fight for what they want? Because you're their mom, you're the parent. Now, all of this is also really fascinating to me because Tammy recently uploaded a video, and I'll include some clips of it in this video. But she recently uploaded a video talking about what she fed her cats, and then talked about how people got mad because she gave the cats a bite of turkey or something. And she talked about how that's all her mom, like her mom only feeds her dogs table food, like human food. And even went as far to say that her mom, one dog in particular, really loved McDonald's hamburgers.
Well, on Thanksgiving, I give them a piece of turkey, white meat turkey. There was some controversy about not giving, animals, meat and whatever, table food. My mom gives her dogs. My mom has this one dog that's like, literally, she's a teacup, which is the smallest breed of Chihuahua. She has 2 sets of teeth. She can't eat hard cat food or dog food, hard dog food, but she loves some chicken. That dog will eat the heck out of chicken. She loves her chickie. I mean, she like hamburgers from McDonald's or just hamburger in general. But her favorite thing is chicken.
And so when I saw that, and then I thought back to this episode, I was like, this all makes sense. Like, Mama Slayton's over here judging Tammy and Amy for their willpower when she was probably the one feeding them hamburgers the whole time. I mean, if she's feeding her Chihuahua hamburgers, you think she wasn't like feeding them fast food all the time? Listen, I probably need to be kind and patient, but Mama Slayton is not doing it for me in particular. Ultimately, they leave the restaurant and they're more determined to lose weight because basically Mama Slayton was not supportive and they said, we're gonna prove her wrong. And so they go back and they show some behind the scenes of them filming a YouTube video that I quite honestly did not remember, and I had to go look and see if it was actually a YouTube video or if they were just doing that for like TV. Turns out it was really a real life YouTube video, and I just like never watched it, didn't pay attention. They also talked a lot about like hate comments that they get. They even showed a clip from a YouTube video where Tammy showed this beware a pig sign that somebody sent her in the mail, and talked a lot about how like the internet is full of trolls and people who are mean and things like that. I was mildly interested in their little like behind the scenes of making of their YouTube videos, and then I was like, girl, this is your setup, this blue curtain on the wall behind you, and this like janky iPad with this janky tripod. Okay, sis, but they're making it work, aren't they? It does make me laugh because people often ask me like, what do I need to get started on YouTube? And literally, you don't need any fancy camera right away, any fancy lights. Like, you can literally do whatever. Like, clearly the Slaytons do it. So live your truth, just get started. You could be the next Slayton sister. The other thing I'll say about the video that was interesting is that essentially they ended up saying that they were worried if they lost weight that they would lose subscribers, which is something that's frequently said about Amber Lynn and Chantal and Hungry Fat Chick, is that like a lot of their subscribers may or may not be feeders and want to see them eat large amounts of food. And it was interesting to hear Amy and Tammy say like, yeah, this is a concern we have, but our health is more important. So at one point, Amy and Tammy go out to the park with Amy's husband to go for a walk, and Tammy loses it. She's like, I can't do this. I can't walk, blah, 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 blah. And she kind of like has a meltdown. And I was just like actually really taken back by like how calm and patient Amy was with Tammy. I always kind of got the idea that like they were either besties or they are mad at each other and they both were responsible for those things. And this really painted it to look like Amy was like a very patient, loving sister, and Tammy was just like irrational and being a drama queen to some extent. So I appreciated that. I'm also keeping in mind though that all of this is editing. Like when we watch Amy and Tammy on YouTube, they do no editing. So I really truly feel like at the end of the day, that's like the raw, genuine Amy and Tammy. And then this version, this show has to at least paint them to be somewhat likable, right? Because they want people to be invested in Amy and Tammy, and so they have to like make them look somewhat lovable, likable. But I do genuinely believe that there are aspects of them that are likable and enjoyable. I find Tammy to be very sweet. For instance, when we DM on Instagram, she is a kind soul. I again also think that they've both just been through a lot of shit. So they ultimately have a video call with Dr. Charles Proctor, who is a doctor in Atlanta. Listen, y'all, he is no doctor now, but he sure is cute. Like, he could get it. He is very attractive, in my opinion, although I find a lot of folks attractive, so maybe he's not. But I will say Amy and Tammy did confirm that as well and said much of the same stuff about his looks and how he was qualified to do the work. One funny thing that came from their conversation with the doctor was that, I don't know if they really believe this or not, but they said growing up they were told that if they drank diet soda, it would cancel out the sugar from like candy and stuff like that. And I was just so mind blown. Like, if this is something they truly, really believe, like, what is going on in Kentucky? Like, what is the education system in Kentucky teaching our children? I had a lot of concerns. So the episode concludes with Amy and Tammy going to a full-on junkyard, which also kind of seemed like really just a spectacle, honestly, truly, because we know, even just from watching like episodes of My 600 Pound Life, that scales, regular scales that were made for humans, can weigh people that are their size, right? Like, we know that that is a possibility. So regardless of whether or not they could find a scale or not, they took them to this junkyard and full on weighed them in on this like scale that I'm sure is supposed to be used to weigh cars and other heavy machinery. It was a spectacle. Okay, TLC, I see what you did there. Like, you could have found them a doctor's office that could find a way to weigh them, but you said, let's get this spectacle. So they weigh them in and we get their starting weights. Amy comes in at 406 and Tammy comes in at 605. So yeah, together they definitely do weigh 1,000 pounds. They get back into their car and they drive off, and you can hear them, they play the audio of Tammy questioning like if the scale was right, and Amy is talking about how she feels like a truck. I mean, that might have something to do with TLC making them weigh in at a junkyard. I don't know. I wonder why she feels like a truck, TLC. But yeah, so Tammy is saying things like, oh, I think the scale was messed up. I don't believe that. And then shady TLC says, we're gonna ask the manager of the junkyard if it's possible that the scales could be wrong. They got the producers over here asking these shady questions. And the producer says, absolutely not. Like, the state comes in and makes sure that all of our scales are correct. Like, what interest does the state have in a bunch of scales at a junkyard? I have a lot of questions about that, but either way, the guy assures us that there's no way that those scales were wrong. And that pretty much concludes the episode. So I really enjoyed the first episode. I look forward to seeing more from the series. I'm interested to see kind of what happens, because to some extent, Amy and Tammy are still making videos. I have a feeling they're only allowed to show certain parts of that thing, like of their bodies, and talk about certain things due to like contractual obligations. But even Tammy was in the same video where her mom was talking about feeding her dog McDonald's. She was talking about all the food that Amy brought her on like Christmas Day. She talked about how she has a thing for graham crackers with peanut butter and jelly. and talks about how graham crackers are a healthier cookie, and then shows the empty container of peanut butter and jelly. Like she had already finished it.
I'm on this kick again. I did it about 10 years ago where all I wanted was graham crackers and peanut butter and jelly. I don't eat it all the time, and graham crackers is a healthier cookie. Healthier. No cookie's healthy, but I'm not trying to make excuses. All I do is I mix the peanut butter and the jelly like in a bowl or something. Amy got me this. I usually don't get this. Yes, it's empty. It's called Goobers. I kind of mixed it up in the jar and I spread it on the graham cracker and I ate it. Usually I get them separate. A jar of peanut butter, a jar of jelly, mix it up in a bowl, spread it on graham cracker and eat it. If you hadn't tried it, try it. Game changer.
So I'm just like, girl, what weight have we really lost? Like, do I really think you're gonna get surgery? I hope they get surgery. I would love to see them get healthy. Amy talks a lot in the episode about wanting to be able to have a kid. She talks about not feeling like a woman because she's unable to have a kid. And I really want the best for them. I want them to be able to do all the things that they want to accomplish in their lives. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens next. I know this video is a little bit different in terms of format and things like that. So please let me know if you enjoyed this video, if there's things that you would like me to do differently. I do plan on covering every episode of the series. I would like to do like a little review each week. So let me know if there are things that you would like to see done differently in the future. I do really want your feedback about this so that I can make the best kind of video, since this is kind of like a new thing for me. If you like this video and it's your first video that you've watched of mine, please make sure to subscribe down below and hit the bell button so you get a notification every single time I post a new video or I go live. Also, leave me some comments and hit the like button and follow me on all of my social media. I had a whole lot of fun with you all today. I hope you did as well, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!